Hey folks, this is my conversation with Dustin Harder of Prairie Soul, who's currently involved as he calls it, the energy behind two upcoming music festivals at the Hilltop Resort. Dustin's involved in curating the Heart of the Nation Music Festival, as well as Festival 59 Blues. Heart of the Nation, which takes place on 2 stages over 3 days in July, includes a massive list of local performers, including a number of past Witch Police radio guests, like House Handshake, Odder Than the Otters, the Tims, the Lovers, Plain as Ghosts, and many more. Festival 59 Blues, which also features a host of local talent, takes place August 9th, 10th, and 11th, again at Hilltop Resort. Our conversation is about what goes into putting these festivals on, about the revival of Hilltop as a venue for big festivals like this and its history, about Dustin's involvement and how he put these really impressive bills together, and a lot more. We talk about his own music, and you hear a song near the end of the episode, and generally it's just a fun conversation. It's also worth noting that this is an interview I conducted over the phone, and unlike the last one, which was a few episodes ago, I think I've solved the problem I was having with the hissing, even though he was out, I believe, at Hilltop itself when we recorded. So he's really camping outside the city, and our conversation sounds, to my ears anyway, pretty clear. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre, Winnipeg's premier concert and event venue. If you want to find out all the great shows they have coming up, go to myparktheatre.com.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Alright, welcome to Witch Police Radio. I'm doing the phone thing again. I've tried this a few times now, and it's working a lot better than it used to, so I can actually, it gives me the opportunity to record interviews with people who aren't necessarily in the city at the moment, or for whatever reason, we can't make it work in person. And I think that the guest on today's episode is someone that we've been talking about doing this for quite a while, but it hasn't worked out in person due to, various timing things. So I'm on the line here. I have Dustin Harder, who is a local musician who also has a lot of work going on in the near future when it comes to a couple of new music festivals. So if you want to maybe just introduce yourself and give people just a quick, Cole's Notes kind of background on what you've done in the music scene, and especially what you're doing now with these festivals.
Hi there, I'm Dustin Harder. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
The past isn't as much as important as what's going on coming up.
Yeah, let's talk about the new stuff, sure. I mean, you got 2 festivals that are coming up very soon.
Yeah, at the Hilltop Resort. Originally, the grounds for the original Summerfest back in 2004 that housed the Doors and Boston and the Beach Boys and like major acts.
Yeah.
The grounds were built for festivals. It was built for Manitoba for festivals out in the Grand Beach area. And unfortunately, it didn't carry on for many, many years like they had intended to. But lo and behold, it was built, and the grounds themselves are still here, and they're the perfect place to house festivals in Manitoba. And I'm happy to be part of trying to share the Manitoba talent that we have with the Heart of the Nation Music Festival, which is coming up July 5th and 6th.
Right.
And then Festival 59 Blues in August 9th and 10th of this year.
So where is Hilltop? I mean, for people who haven't been there before, in relation to Winnipeg, how far outside the city is it?
Oh man, it's closer than a drive through rush hour traffic. It's 45 minutes away on Highway 59. To put it into relativity, some people might know, like Lagimodiere is Highway 59.
Yep.
If you don't know that already from Winnipeg, who doesn't? You're looking at 10 minutes north of South Beach Casino.
Okay.
On your right, and you're 10 minutes south of Grand Marais. Somewhere like Potenza's Pizza.
Okay.
Is a location that's out that way.
What's the setup there? I mean, obviously there's stage and everything, but like you were saying, it was used a long time ago for these big shows, and kind of is it still the same setup they had back then, or has it been worked on significantly since then?
They've added a second stage and a smaller third stage. However, with launching this festival, we were really tempted to launch the big stage that they had built originally.
Okay.
But to be honest, the production costs for a day we're looking at $12,000. So, given that we're in our first year for Heart of the Nation and our second year for Festival of 59 Blues, our goal is to get to, by year 3, 4, 5 to be using the big stage, but we're using the in between stage, if you will.
Okay, sure, yeah. How did you get involved with Hilltop?
I kind of was headhunted. Years ago, I ran the 8 Days in May Urban Gathering Festival from 2010 to 2012.
Okay.
And that was all a private endeavor of mine to try to showcase Indigenous artists. Myself being Métis, I was involved with the Manitoba Aboriginal Music Program.
Okay.
And the Canada Council of the Arts through Heather Bishop and the Art of Managing Your Career. A couple of key programs to help artists in all aspects of art, whether it be music or crafts or visual or what. And back when I was in the AMP Camp program, I was like, wow, there are a lot of amazing Indigenous artists in Canada that I haven't heard of. And I kind of prided myself on having my ear to the ground on lots of things, but I was quite pleasantly surprised, and it just motivated me to try to do something. One of the curators or the helpers with AMP Camp and AMP Camp in particular was Doug Cox, who is the artistic director of the Vancouver Island Music Festival.
Okay.
And I got to being friends with him, and lo and behold, after my third year, I bit off a little more than I can chew, and I took a step back from that role in the industry, continued on my music career, which has been relatively successful for an independent artist.
Yeah.
I can't complain. I've been able to tour all over Western Canada many times. Excuse me.
That's okay.
But since then, most recently, both Doug and Mitch Godolic, from the founder of the Winnipeg Folk, have offered me hours and hours of consultation to try to make this spot and this place work for Heart of the Nation and Festival 59 Blues, and hopefully other folks that would like to throw events here.
That's awesome. So maybe let's start with Heart of the Nation, because it's the one that's coming up the soonest.
That's right.
So how did this come together? I mean, I know it's the first year, so there's obviously a lot of it's probably a pretty steep learning curve to get this all set up and get it ready to go. But how did it develop? Like, where did the idea come from? And I guess what is the kind of focus of that festival?
Well, the focus of it, for sure, I'll start with that question, is this year and our first year is to showcase, like, in my mind, the best of Manitoba acts that we have. There are a few that were unavailable to be part of the lineup this year that I really wish would have. I'm not even going to mention their names.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get them in the years to come. But given of the availability and the lineup that we have, I think it's very strong. It is to really showcase Manitoba music and the artists that we have here. And how it all became of my involvement with the Hilltop Resort and the grounds was the general manager of the Hilltop Resort contacted me to really, it started with I love your blues band, the blues that you do with Dustin Harder and Prairie Soul, and your past with the Dusty Roads band, and would you come out and do a weekend with us? However, what we'd really like to do is what he says afterwards is do a blues festival. Do you think you can make that happen? And so I said, well, yeah, I could probably help. However, I only had 6 weeks to throw it together.
Right.
But we did it last year, and it was a good test market to see what the market for blues was. Good enough that after the festival, they're like, we would love to do this again next year. And so I started working on that, and then a month later, they they were impressed with how smoothly things ran there, and what the potential of my involvement could be with this venue, and asked me to do a second festival. And lo and behold, the Heart of the Nation was born.
Okay. And who's playing at the festival? I mean, I know there's a lot of people. You don't have to list all of them, but who are the headliners of the festival?
In no particular order, the Ducks.
Yeah.
They're a major one. I was just on the phone with Leonard earlier today, actually, and I wanted to ask him who the actual lineup of the Ducks are, because their lineup has changed over the years of their off and on career.
They've changed vocalists and stuff too, right? Like they've changed significantly.
Yeah, they've had Sarah Degas and Jesse Havey. They've had different percussionists, Scott Senior, Christian Dugas, which I'm really excited to have working with me and Prairie Soul at the festival this year.
Oh, cool.
And Rodrigo Munoz from Papa Mambo.
Yep.
He's the original percussionist of the Ducks. So let me refrain. The actual lineup for the Ducks that he told me, I was so excited, is Jeremy Penner, who was the fiddle player for Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, for sure.
Then we've got Rodrigo Munoz, who's going to be playing percussion, who was the original Ducks percussionist. Jessie Havey, who will also be performing with Nation of Two with her husband.
Right.
She works, or until recently, was a big part of the West End Cultural Center.
Right.
Let's see. Jordan McConley, original guitar player for the Ducks, will be there.
Cool.
And Leonard himself. So it pretty much is like the original Ducks that are going to be there. I've never seen that lineup, and I'm excited for it.
Cool.
Big time.
Yeah.
Moving on, Brandy Zidane. She might be more known Winnipeg with a band called Twilight Hotel with Dave Quanbury. Over years, they were a duo that were out of Manitoba, who moved down south to Nashville. And since then, Brandy has, she's most recently been touring with, I'm forgetting his name offhand. Let me think for a moment. Doyle Bramhall II,
okay.
who was Eric Clapton's side guitar player, like his on-call guy. From of his shows. And she was recently in Rolling Stone magazine. The folks at Rolling Stone went down to South by Southwest, and she was picked as one of the top 30 artists to look out for.
Oh,
and
right on.
This is her first time back in Manitoba since playing the Winnipeg Folk Festival 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was 3. And the really special part of that is that she's originally from Manitoba, which we wanted to showcase, and she's bringing her husband, who's never been to Manitoba. So
cool.
That's kind of really cool for her and her people.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
I'm excited to have the Sweet Alibi here. Having worked with Jess in the past with the Dusty Rose Band, very proud of how her career has gone. They're working on their 4th album.
Yeah.
With Rusty Mateus and those, I think, at Paintbox.
Okay.
Same with Michael Falk's place there.
Yeah, for sure.
Who else? Ego Spank. The cumulative best backing band that I would say, if there's any artist that outside of Manitoba that needed a band, that's who you got to call. You got Jill Fournier and Daniel Lois and Marc Arnault and Murray Pulver, of course.
Yeah.
One that we added that is a little new is a band called Thrill. Sid Belanger, who painted the Live at the Roslyn
the mural,
background for the Village Idiots.
Yeah.
I met him at the Romy Mays show a few months back that she had done, and later got to see his band, and was really excited that they were available, and came down. So them, Attica Riots. Okay. There's not much I need to say about them. Awesome rock band. The flow of the show, 7 p.m. till 2 a.m. There's no restriction out here to have the music shut down at any point in time. So who knows what might happen.
That's convenient to have that. Yeah, it's kind of nice to know.
Yeah. Well, the Hilltop Resort is literally, at this point, up until recently, since Alberta changed their laws, the only private campground of its kind that doesn't have a noise bylaw.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and we're not like a drinking bylaw, noise bylaw. there's 4,000 campsites. You can camp close to the bowl and the party, or you can camp away if you need to get some rest. Either way, it's set up for a good weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And a great summer.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so the camping thing, that's a big part of it, I guess, right? I'm assuming you want people to come out and camp and stay for the weekend and kind of like take in the whole thing.
Oh, well, we would love that. By all means, because we're so close, you come for the music and head back. Of course, bring a designated driver. We encourage drinking responsibly and smoking responsibly.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, let's get to the ticket price. 22 bands, $44. Somebody brought it up to me. That's $2 a band.
It's a pretty good deal. Yeah.
It was actually Bruce Tulloch from Beer for Breakfast that brought it up.
Yeah.
And when I was interviewing with him last week, and he, there really isn't, to my knowledge, a festival that has the value and the artistic talent that this festival has.
For sure. Well, that's a great price, especially when you compare it to some of the other camping type festivals, which are in the hundreds. But how do you make that work with that many bands and making it affordable? Like, it's got to be a challenge, right, when it comes to putting the festival together.
And how do you make that work on your first year with when you do ask for some sponsorship support? But most sponsors have replied with, let's see how you do the first year.
Right, I don't blame them either, right? Like, they don't want to be backing something that might not work, right? So, I mean, obviously, hope it works. But yeah, so there's got to be a challenge there in terms of making it happen.
You know what? It definitely has to do with faith in the Hilltop Resort. In my well, let's see. I just turned 41 back June 14th.
Okay.
And I've been playing music and been in the know in Winnipeg since I've been 13, 14 when I used to play the Blue Note Cafe.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just that they have faith that I'm the guy that could hopefully make this work,
Yeah.
And so we're investing in that lineup. We're investing in that lineup. It's an amazing lineup, and the location. Back when they built it, I think they spent $14 million on this place.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. You don't have to leave. You don't have to. They just hit an artesian well, and there's a swimming hole with artesian well water.
Oh, very cool.
Literally a 2-minute walk away from the stage.
So you can probably hear that. Yeah, presumably you can hear the music while you're swimming, right? I mean, that's kind of nice.
Or if you don't even want to be in the crowd, but you want to hear the music, you'll hear it because this is the largest treed amphitheater in Canada.
Right.
The music it'll travel, and it's yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. I mean, you obviously have the lineup you want. Clearly, you chose those bands for very good reasons, and you have the venue you want, but one of the best things about Manitoba in the summer is that there are so many festivals in every small community inside and outside of the city almost every weekend. So how do you kind of make your festival, especially in the first year, how do you make it stand out? How do you make it kind of, because every week you hear of a new one that's starting somewhere, right? I mean, which is fantastic. But
everybody's trying, and that's great.
Yeah.
And kudos to everyone, because there should be a festival every weekend in Manitoba. Like, we have long winters, and we need to
we need to let loose. Yeah.
We need to let loose in the summertime. That's great.
Yeah.
The lineup and the price, man.
Yeah.
It's affordable. That $44 I mentioned includes your camping fees.
Okay.
Which normally it's a $10 camping site. They do have here another thing, which I should add. Is that the Hilltop Resort does plan on having events every weekend all summer long.
Okay.
I think there's about 5 weekends where there's nothing solidified planned, like like Heart of the Nation or Festival 59 Blues. But next week they have Summerfest Gone Country. Okay. They've got which is a tribute acts for the country fans. There's 2 tribute acts that are headlining, a Garth Brooks and a Shania Twain tribute,
okay,
which are like supposed to be some of the best in Canada. The following week after Heart of the Nation is Hotel California. Apparently this is the best Eagles tribute band in the world that they booked.
Okay.
So that's there's another draw there for.
Well, I guess somebody has to listen to the Eagles, right? I mean,
hey man, it's not necessarily my cup of tea.
no,
but,
for sure, yeah.
But I'm sure it is for others. The main goal out here at Hilltop though is to have more and more original music and original events going on. But I wanted to add that they do a really neat offer. If you wanted to look at a place to go camping for the summer, for $500, you got yourself a camp spot all summer long, which includes 2 passes to every event that they put on.
Well, that's cool.
And then if you want to step it up a notch and get a service site, like with water and you know what I mean, service site.
Yeah.
Your camper, $1,500.
Okay.
And they also allow you to leave your camper here and store it all winter as long as you plan on coming back.
As long as you pick it up, yeah.
So you're even saving money on storage. Like it's a pretty cool thing they got, and an offer that they got going on. And again, it's been 14 years since Summerfest, and now that with these things that are going on, we're hoping Hilltop will grow and grow and grow.
So why? I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot going on there, a lot of exciting things happening. It sounds like it's got a lot of amenities, people who are camping there. What has been the reason for the kind of long delay between big events happening back then and now sort of a revival of it?
It's probably, from my knowledge, and I wouldn't say probably, from my best answer to that is just like I bit off more than I could chew with my 8 Days in May festival 3 years ago, or in its third year.
Okay.
They came out with a really big bang, too much of a bang. That's my honest answer. So they came out with too much of a bang, and it just wasn't feasible to carry on the way they would have liked to have.
Okay.
I wasn't involved with any of that. I know people who were, but I know even the folks that were hope that, with the events that they have going on, and especially with Heart of the Nation, that we can reignite a little spark and a fire behind this venue, because it's such a beautiful venue.
Yeah. Just to switch gears to the Blues Festival for a minute. Now that this is the second year you're doing it, you obviously have a better idea of kind of making that work, because you've done it once. I mean, you're in a different situation with Heart of the Nation because it's festival number 1. But kind of what did you learn from the first year of the Blues Festival that you're applying to year number 2? Or is it just as hard putting together the second year as it was with the inaugural?
Yeah, well, like to give it into perspective, like for both festivals combined, I've easily put in 6 months of full-time volunteering, if you will.
Right. Sure, yeah.
Let's call it that, because I see the potential in these two things growing. For going back to blues though, we lost the Winnipeg Barbecue and Blues Festival.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yeah, because that was kind of the thing for
we
a while.
lost it. We lost it last year, and that was kind of a deciding factor on me taking on trying this out, a Blues Festival out here. Knowing that it's pretty much, from what I know, I could be wrong, it doesn't look like it's coming back. There is a market for blues in Manitoba, man. And one of the things, especially with the Blues Festival, what I learned, what I'd have to say, I learned that other blues festivals across Canada have done and are doing. I won't name names, but they're calling themselves blues festivals, but they're not blues festivals. Now, we can go back on saying, hey, we have the Winnipeg Jazz Festival, and all of a sudden they have a rock band on stage, but they're a really great rock band.
And that's a criticism that they get all the time. And when I had Michael Falk on here, we talked about that. And that's, one of the things that people who maybe are not big fans of the Jazz Festival, they always point out, oh, well, it's not a jazz band. Why are the Flaming Lips here? Why is so-and-so here? Right?
Sure, but I really love, I can't quote his response, and I listened to his interview, and I really loved his response on the wide variety of jazz music. It's like, okay, blues was the roots, and then came jazz, and then came rock and roll.
For sure.
And so like jazz encompasses all genres. Just like I could say that blues really does as well.
Oh yeah, so many things sprang forth from blues. I mean, rock and roll alone is directly blues based. So yeah.
And there are those jazz Nazis, and there's those blues Nazis. Or let's just say genre Nazis.
Purists, the purists,
that will be like, well, but why are you calling it that? Why don't you call it just a music festival,
Yeah.
right? And that's why I did go with, and we here went with Heart of the Nation Music Festival. Originally, we were thinking of a Blues and Roots Festival name, but when I talked with management here, I said I plan on bringing a variety, something for everyone. I will bring it up with the interview you had with the Lovers a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
that they play rockabilly and they play multiple genres because it's something for everyone. And really, that's the kind of music I think that Manitoba does bring to the world. It's something for everyone.
That's true. But Manitoba also, in my experience anyway, it feels very strongly, I think, about certain genres of music. And I think blues is in there. I mean, anything roots, country, folk, bluegrass, blues, all of those genres have a very strong following in the province. And so is the Blues Festival going to incorporate a lot of the other stuff too, or is it trying to stay as streamlined?
Thank you for saying that, because I was going to mention at this point you are going to see nothing but the blues.
Okay.
It's going to be we're bringing back the Windsor Hotel,
the old Windsor Hotel. Yeah.
Exactly. Like when you come to the Blues Festival, you're going to hear blues.
Okay. Is there enough local
that's just
blues?
what it is going to be at this point. We may expand a little bit, but I think that we'd like to stick to its name.
Does Winnipeg have a strong enough, and Manitoba have a strong enough local blues scene to fill a festival, or do you have to bring in a lot of out-of-town acts to kind of make, if you're going with the blues purist kind of vibe, is there enough of that here?
For long term, yes, we're obviously going to have to bring in other acts.
Yeah.
And that would be the goal. We want to provide a venue for touring artists to be able to not skip through Winnipeg and come to Winnipeg. Same goal is for Heart of the Nation. Like, our first year is mainly Manitoba artists, but we definitely are looking already at expanding. We have acts from Australia and the UK already interested that we're in talks with, looking for the second year. So
very cool.
There is a strong blues scene of artists here in Manitoba, to the extent of the quality.
Yeah.
It isn't the largest group, but there is some quality acts here. You've got guys like the Groove Pirates. You've got Curtis Newton, who, by all means, I don't know why he doesn't have 20 albums out under his belt right now, and he's touring the world because he's a great entertainer. Newer upcoming acts like C.T. Taylor, DB and the Deadbeats. They've done some revamping and they brought in a new vocalist and she did some switching around, and what they're doing right now is fabulous. So and we've got all these acts I mentioned are on our festival this year. However, for long term, absolutely, we will be looking internationally for artists, but we also would hope that it'll grow and give a place for the local artists to get heard and seen, and hopefully through the promotion. And in today's day and age, I'll bring up a point of even the purpose of even trying to put together these events. Talking to Leonard today, he said so far the advertising online through social media that the Ducks have gotten from Heart of the Nation, which is the only summer festival that they're playing in Canada this year. Okay. Which is totally cool.
That's great.
Well, they're now getting offers from Boston and the States again. So it's helping us to spark a new maybe a new wave of their career. Who knows?
Sure,
there could be more albums to come, you know.
Are you playing at any of these festivals?
I am with Prairie Soul for both the festivals.
Okay.
It's not something that I look at doing in the years and years to come. And that's not really a matter of cliche. It's just for the first year of Heart of Nation, all the acts that I booked, a lot of them are friends of mine, and they're just people I admire, and I'm proud of what they've done with their careers, and they've stuck to it.
Yeah.
And they've just kind of just grinded just like I have, and that's why I wanted to be part of it, if you will.
Sure.
That way, and to showcase what I'm doing as well. And I've also been up to a lot of things musically that I haven't had a chance to share with people, and here's an opportunity, right?
For sure, yeah. How do you have time to do that? I mean, just, if you're involved in organizing these festivals, like, how do you fit that in as performing?
I've been writing music most of my life, and I have 5 albums easily of material that I would eventually love to get out there.
Okay.
So a lot of the working on the music and the songwriting has been done, and it's ready to go. So it's really about more so just it depends when you're playing a show. Is it a 45-minute set? Is it a 75-minute set? Is it a 90-minute set?
Right.
Is it a 3-hour concert? Is it a bar gig, that has 3 1 hours? Like, it depends on the show. And for me right now, it's just I've got myself up there for 75 minutes with Prairie Soul. And again, I think I mentioned already, I'm so excited to have Christian Dugas, who's a longtime friend of mine, who's in Manitoba, working with me right now. He's, in my mind, no offense to any other drummer in Manitoba. There's many great ones, but he's my favorite. And so I'm excited he's the best guy for the job to present what I want to present, to what I can put forward and out there musically. So
sure. And what is that? I mean, like Prairie Soul, the name is evocative, but how do you define what it is you do?
Hey, that's a very good question. When I was working with the Dusty Rhodes Band, I was asked to define my genre by Manitoba Music so they could help market me internationally. Yeah. And I said, well, I kind of do a little bit of roots and blues and country and rock, and I even delve into some disco funk, and I play music. I don't have a genre.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, when you figure out what genre you are and you put together a succinct album of one genre, then we'll look into seeing how we can help market you. And I think it's a huge conundrum with many, many artists.
Oh,
Never
absolutely,
mind just
yeah.
Manitoba artists, but it's like to put you in that one spot of where you're going to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. If there's an artist that could say, hey, what do you sound like? I sound like Led Zeppelin. I sound like AC/DC. This is what we do. We play rock and roll, and this is what we do. By all means, kudos. If there's an artist out there or a band in Manitoba that does that, all the power to you.
Sure.
However, I find that mainly in Manitoba, we are Prairie Soul music, man. Like, it's a culmination of many genres all mixed into Manitoba and our winters. I asked Mitch Podolak back when I was with the Dusty Rhodes Band. He invited me over for dinner. We had dinner. We played some acoustic songs. I showed him my album before we released it. I said, "Can you help me pick a genre?" And I quote, he said, "This sounds like rock and prairie soul, roots and blues music."
Okay.
And I said, "Thanks for helping me pick a genre." Like, really?
Yeah.
Because you're right. You're right about what you just said, but it doesn't answer the question that the industry's asking me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But then the name Prairie Soul popped out a few years later. I was looking back on a few things for promotional purposes, and I remember writing that down or seeing a post I made, and I went, Prairie Soul music. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I think a lot of artists do, especially the ones that have books for Heart of the Nation. So,
well, maybe this is maybe an interesting question that I've always wondered what Manitoba's sound is, because I mean, obviously Manitoba, there are bands that are very successful in like a wide range of genres. There's successful rappers, successful country singers, successful punk bands, but there's something like intangible that is Winnipeg or Manitoba about all of them, and I can never quite pinpoint what it is. My impression has sort of been that people here, they like music to be gritty and dirty and maybe even sort of broken a little bit, and that kind of is the appeal of it, is that there's something like raw about it, right? Raw and honest. That kind of thing, I think the word you're looking for is the grooves, man. It's like a grungy, bluesy, rootsy thing. The grooves, the Prairie Soul grooves, does that kind of make sense of a genre that we have? Yeah, maybe, but there's something like, do you think there's something that kind of connects like a metal band and a rap group and a country singer that just kind of speaks, like, says Manitoba without you knowing that they're from Manitoba? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think there's like a kind of a uniform something that makes local music sound local?
Hitting up on some of those genres, I'm not as keen, or that's not the word I'm looking for. It's not keen. I'm not as I don't follow the R&B or the rap or the metal scene or the classical scene for that matter that much. To try to put them into the same category as a roots and blues, prairie soul, grooves thing, not necessarily. So maybe that is a genre that I'm saying is kind of encompasses a lot, but not those.
Sure.
I wish I could answer your question, but I don't think I can.
I don't know if there is an answer for it. I ask all kinds of people this question because I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like whatever band I'm listening to, there's always something, even if it's not explicit, there's something that local about them that I can pick up on. And I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean...
You know what? If anything, it's probably the rhythm.
Yeah.
There's something about the rhythms that happen with, and a little bit of maybe about the sound. You know, there's probably a lot of garden amplifiers playing around.
Yeah, it could totally be. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and we all know that they're like, what is in the water in Winnipeg? What is it? We've heard this question a million times. Like, why are these great acts coming out?
Yeah.
And why is the scene so proficient here? It's the long winters, man. You got, especially artists that aren't touring out there, or the ones that are trying to develop. It's the most beautiful place to develop as an artist, bar none.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Yeah,
bar none. It really is a great developing place. Hence why we have so many more artists coming to Manitoba. Well, only they're coming here for the wrong reason. They think that this is the place to make it big. Well, it depends what your idea of making it big is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's when you leave Manitoba and represent Manitoba that I think is what all Manitobans, whether the artist or the people supporting those artists, want, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's true, because I know a lot of people who are musicians or otherwise who have left Manitoba, and they tend to be the most proud Manitobans that I've met, because they're representing whatever their connection is to this area in Toronto or in Vancouver or wherever else they are. So yeah, that makes sense for sure. They're yeah, definitely.
And I tell you, it's not hard for a do-it-yourselfer to book a tour in Canada, especially Western Canada, in my experience.
Yeah.
When you're from Winnipeg, you know, in your introduction email or whoever you're talking to, as soon as you tell them you're from Winnipeg, people kind of give you a little more attention, you know?
Yeah. Well, because there's a mystique to it, right? Winnipeg has this kind of outsized place in the Canadian music scene just because we're a small city with so many artists coming out here.
Absolutely. And the proof is in the pudding of who's come out of here. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned a hip hop artist. You know who I almost had booked? I'll mention one that couldn't make it this year. A young artist, a rapper named VC.
Okay, yeah.
Great talent that kid has.
He's super young too. He's like 20 or something. Right? Yeah.
Look, he just interviewed with. I think he was playing Jazz Fest Raw.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
And I was like, right on.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we couldn't fit him in this year, but I'm so happy with that. Or Olivia Lunny. There's another artist.
Totally. Yeah. Another very young one who's doing big things for sure. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No. We're about to blow up out here, man.
Yeah. Well, okay, maybe a question for you then. I mean, you're, I think, probably 4 years older than me. So, I mean, I think some of our time in the local music scenes, you know, going to shows and stuff probably overlaps. But as someone who's, you know, putting together festivals and you're getting local artists and current local artists, do you have any difficulty keeping up with what's going on in the scene? I mean, some of those artists you just mentioned, they're so far removed from what was going on in the 90s in Winnipeg. And even the early 2000s, they were kids then. So do you have any trouble kind of staying hip to what's going on? I mean, I interview people every week, and I've been doing this for almost 7 years, and I often have difficulty kind of getting what the new shit is in Winnipeg. You know what I mean? A lot of it I do understand, but it's a challenge, and I'm a few years shy of 40 here. But even for me, it can be tricky.
No, I agree. Absolutely, there's a challenge. You have to, you got to keep your ear to the ground, and when I say ear to the ground, it's like ear to what's happening, and I'll be thankful to places like the Times Changed.
Yeah,
I grew up in that place. I don't frequent it much anymore. I don't want to get into too many details, but I have a storied past, and at this point in time, I won't be frequenting that venue at this point. However, I support every artist and I support that venue 100%.
Yeah.
The Village Idiots, what they're doing and what they're promoting with especially original music.
Yeah.
The venues like West End Cultural Center, the venues like the Park Theater, the venues like even Le Garage. Although I'll say it on this air, you need to fix your sound because it's not the best sounding room.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a great developing place, and it's a great place to be heard and seen.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
There are a lot of if Ray's listening, or if he does, here, hint hint, wink wink, nudge nudge. Still love it to death. All the festivals, never mind, all the festivals. We didn't do it this year, and I'm going to go ahead and mention it, but there was an idea that I had for Heart of the Nation, and maybe some listeners can give me feedback. Maybe we'll do it next year. We're not doing it this year, but I wanted to invite all volunteers for the Jazz Fest, for the Festival de Voyageurs, for the Winnipeg Folk Festival, for the Fringe Festival, and anybody who's got a lanyard and is a volunteer, you're welcome to come to our festival. You get a pass.
That's a cool idea.
Right off the bat. And that's something I really wanted to do with the other people and partners that are involved. It just didn't happen, but it's not something that I don't say wouldn't happen in the years to come.
Yeah.
And I think that would, because if it really wasn't for all those volunteers, we wouldn't have these great festivals, man.
For sure.
And yeah, that would have been my having volunteered for. I think I volunteered for many of those festivals I mentioned, not all, but I put in my time and again, like I said, if it wasn't for those volunteers doing that, we wouldn't have all this great music to listen to all summer long. Yeah,
because those festivals wouldn't have lasted without those volunteers, for sure. Yeah.
Well, never mind lasted. It wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
It's that my conversations with Mitch Podolak were number one. He said, the volunteers are what make Winnipeg Folk Festival happen and continue. So
just to
so it would have been my thank you, and it would have been a way to also hopefully get people interested in volunteering in the years to come. Cause I'll add that yes, we are still looking for volunteers.
Well, it's an audience too, right? You get a crowd out there of people who are maybe have never heard of the festival before, but because they have that option to check it out as volunteers of other festivals, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's very cool.
Yeah, and that was another key one. A lot of people have posted many different things since we released our lineup. They've posted with Heart of the Nation. They've went, wow, what an amazing local lineup, and then they've also posted, too bad it was the weekend before Winnipeg Folk Festival,
right?
Or the weekend after Canada Day, like, too bad. And I thought of it more as like, no, that's part of the reason we picked that weekend was like, so that the folks that are all volunteering for Winnipeg Folk Festival are volunteering for a Canada Day event, have a weekend to do something.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Definitely.
It's like industry night for the volunteers.
yeah.
You know?
For sure, yeah. Just to jump back to something you said like very early in the conversation
sure.
about Indigenous artists in Manitoba. I feel like there's, I was kind of in the same position like you were saying before, where it's there's all kinds of amazing Indigenous artists here in the province, but a lot of people just didn't know about them. And I think that seems to be shifting a bit, and there seems to be a lot of attention being put on Indigenous artists in Manitoba, which is awesome. And there's a lot of them that are doing really well. Like, have you seen that change kind of over the last decade or so, where there's been more
absolutely
festivals and opportunities and just general focus?
Absolutely. It's been 9 years since I was involved with the Aboriginal music program through Manitoba Music.
Okay.
And in that 9 years, wow, what a difference. Artists like Lorenzo.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Touring Australia regularly. Indian City and Eagle and Hawk. Indian City is on the bill on Friday night. They played the 150th anniversary of Canada Day at Ottawa.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you get to see them for $44 and 21 more bands.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely Winnipeg is definitely not only I'll quote Riley from the Village Idiots, the music capital of not only Canada but the world, right?
I like that. Yeah.
But we are definitely the indigenous capital of music talent.
Sure, yeah.
And
I think
a lot of people might not even know this, that we have the largest indigenous population in any city in Canada.
Yeah, it's the largest urban indigenous population, right? Yeah, for
That's
sure.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then there's I'll bring up Casey Adams, who's not a musical artist, but she's an indigenous visual artist and a storyteller.
Is she the one who did the photo series?
She did the Perception Project.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still going strong, and it's moving. She's getting international exposure out of it, and it's and here it is from Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't live too far away? Tanya Tagaq.
Oh yeah, she's phenomenal.
Polaris Music Prize winner.
Yeah, unbelievable.
She's living not too far away. I won't say where, because she probably doesn't want me to tell anyone where she lives. But
yeah. No, that's cool. Did you? I mean, is that something that you want to prioritize for these festivals, to get indigenous talent involved?
Going back to 8 Days in May, when I had done that, my intent was of giving people a new perspective on what indigenous, or back then it was Aboriginal,
right? Yeah.
What Aboriginal music is, and it's not just powwows, fiddles, and drumming and chanting. There's a big contemporary amount of music that indigenous artists are making in our country, and absolutely there are large elements. Myself being Métis,
yeah.
A lot of the time, I can't get a Métis a gig with a Métis event because I don't have a Métis fiddle in my band. Yet I'm a Métis artist.
Sure.
Right? So I would like there to be in the future even to be part of sharing the understanding that the indigenous music that is being made, whether you call it Native American music, indigenous music, Aboriginal music, it's contemporary as contemporary can be right now. Yeah. Even pushing the boundaries, you know.
Well, and someone like Tanya Tagaq is a good example of pushing the boundaries for sure. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. So yeah, no, that definitely is a goal. I would like to see there be a large percentage. Right now, we have like I mentioned, Indian City, myself being Métis with Prairie Soul, yep. And Sonia Ides is another not lesser known artist who's fast. She's got one of the most fascinating voices I've heard. She'll be performing at the festival as well.
Okay.
And you know, I'd like to see at least being Métis, my goal would be a 50-50. Yeah. You know, 50% Indigenous artists and 50% non-Indigenous at this festival.
Okay.
Whether or not that could happen, time will tell. But I think that you'll definitely see more Indigenous artists being showcased and presented here, only because I would like that.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of them too.
And I'm lucky to be in a position to be able to showcase that. You know, like I count my blessings. I looked back at when I was asked to do Heart of the Nation, and I was like, I took on the role, and then I looked back at it months to go, and as soon as we released the lineup, I went, holy fuck, this is happening. Part of my language. No, holy shit. Yeah, whatever you want to bleep it or not.
No, it's a podcast. Say what you want.
Yeah, that was my wow, this is happening. Let's promote it as much as we can, and hopefully it will see year 20.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So, are you already looking ahead to future festivals, or are you just trying to get this one kind of out of the way first, and then focus on what you're doing for the future?
Oh no, that was a given. As soon as I started working on this first year, and the second year of blues, I'm already looking at 2-3 years in advance. There's artists that couldn't make it this year that I would like to have, and so I've got them on my short list or long list. I don't know which one is which. I've never been on any of those lists. So.
Yeah. One of the lists anyway. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But they're in my mind, and they're definitely, we've been in talks. So, and we're also looking internationally, and I will go ahead and add that there is one non-Manitoba act that is booked. That's not originally from Manitoba. Otherwise, every act is originally. This is a homegrown festival for sure.
Who's the non-Manitoban?
It's Jack Semple, but he's from Regina, so that's close enough.
Sure, that counts. He's a ringer, but yeah, he counts for sure. Yeah. That's. I mean, and I guess once you start doing this too, you have the potential to open it up to people from neighboring communities like that, right? Where they'll maybe, it's not that bad to drive in from there, and maybe you could get some bands coming and they could bring some of their fans, and then you could, grow the festival that way too, right?
Well, again, it's the perfect venue and the location because, like for instance, I mentioned it's $44 includes camping, but that means you can come set up your campsite on Thursday, even if you're from Winnipeg. Check this out. You're from Winnipeg, you want a really nice campsite, come out Thursday, pay $44 at the gate, or you can go to hilltopresort.ca and get an advance ticket.
Right.
I think if you want service, you'd have to get on that right away because we're running out of service sites. But you can come out Thursday night and set up your campsite. Even if you have to work Friday morning, we have hot showers here. You can take a shower in the morning, get to work, go to work, and then come back here, and now you can spend the rest of the weekend here.
That's cool.
And you're only, and like it's less, especially if you live in Transcona or any eastern part, like anywhere near Highway 59.
Right. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
You're laughing, right?
Is there kind of a measuring stick for success with this festival? Like, is there a goal you're looking for in terms of attendance or things like that, or are you just kind of waiting to see what'll happen?
If we lose half of the money that's been invested, and I won't even say what that number is, but it's a fairly large number for our first year. Even if we lose half, I think we'll still be successful.
Okay.
Only based on the fact that many festivals have come and gone and tried and done that before. Our goal would to be honest with you, if we can get 500 paying customers out here and actually break even, this festival will last for 100 years, man.
Right.
It'll only grow from there.
And that's not unreasonable. I mean, considering the lineup you have and the amount of bands and stuff, and each one brings a few fans, right? Like, that's not.
Well, we already have 100 seasonal campsites booked out here that are seasonals that are out here every weekend. So we already have a built-in crowd of like 300 people, right?
Yeah.
So, there's also the Grand Beach area, Grand Marais, Baconia, all the little communities that are out there. 65,000 people out here.
Right. Yeah.
And this is this is by far Heart of the Nation is the biggest event in the area. So, if we can draw 10% of those people, great.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a hell of a party.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so just to remind everyone, what are the dates and the details of each of the festivals?
July 5th and 6th is the Heart of the Nation Music Festival. Hilltopresort.ca has more information. You can find us on Facebook, of course, Heart of the Nation Music Festival. Festival 59 Blues is August 9th and 10th this year. And again, hilltopresort.ca is the place to find that information, or on Facebook, Festival 59 Blues.
Okay.
I'm very active, I'm open to meeting people and friends, so you can find me. It's Dustin Harder, or my actual Facebook is Dustin Rene Antoine Harder. That's my full name.
Okay.
So don't hesitate to say hello, and if you have any questions, we're gonna do some more giveaways. How would you like to give away some tickets, man?
Yeah, I'm down for that for sure. We'll
How many do you want to give away? How many episodes have you ever had on? We're gonna turn the interview around.
Sure, let's go.
How many Witch Police episodes has there been since you started? And when did you start Witch Police Radio?
It started in late 2012. There's been 390 some episodes so far.
390.
Yes.
Okay, well, we're not going to give away 390 tickets.
No, I imagine that would be a bit too much.
But,
Tell you what, why don't we figure that out off air, and then when I post the episode, we'll have it.
No, I'll say it on air now. You know what? I saw that you have 1,000 followers.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, for every 100 followers, we're going to give away I'll give away 10 tickets.
Sounds good, yeah.
10 tickets.
Yeah,
10 tickets to your listeners, man, and that would be great.
Awesome. Well, when I post the episode, I'll include information, and we can have people to enter to win the tickets.
Excellent.
Awesome. And then just I know we haven't touched on it much, but we have talked a little bit about your own music. If people want to hear it, what's the best way for them to find you and check out what you've got out there?
Well, all those ways I just mentioned, they can find me, but You can Google Dustin Harder.
Okay.
That's probably the best bet.
Okay.
You'll see past and present. I am working on a few things. I've got an official music video coming out that I'm working on this summer. It's all planned. We got dates. We've got things happening with that. We are going to be documenting. We've got a full video crew for Heart of the Nation, so there should be a lot of footage for all the artists.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Googling Dustin Harder is probably your best bet.
Okay, and I imagine you have some. Do you have some records floating around out there in the real world, like that people can find, or do you have?
I can give a quick explanation of that.
Sure.
I rebranded as Prairie Soul about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Prior to that, I put out an album with the Dusty Rhodes Band.
Okay.
Given that it was some original music that I felt that didn't get as much exposure as it should, I included a good portion, about 8 of those original songs off that first album, and re-released it with Prairie Soul and added another four new songs.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And I have another album in the mix as well. So it'll be a little bit more on the acoustic side, not what people are used to, but I think that it'll encompass what Prairie Soul is all about. So.
Okay. Outside of these 2 festivals, do you have any shows coming up in the relatively near future?
Yeah, actually, I've got another blues festival in Altona.
Okay.
Altona's there's a night out with the blues.com or .ca. I forget offhand. They have the Altona Blues Festival. They've got Jack de Kaiser as the headliner from Toronto, who's been like Maple Blues Award Juno winner many times over.
Cool.
They've got local groups, the Groove Pirates and C.T. Taylor, as well as Prairie Soul out there. That's July 13th.
Okay.
I know that it's the same weekend as Winnipeg same weekend as Winnipeg Folk. However, if you're that way or you're not planning on going to Winnipeg Folk, well, you'll hear a great lineup of blues on July 13th in Altona.
Awesome.
And have you ever heard of the Barge Festival? Check this one out.
Okay.
A lot of people probably haven't heard of it. It's near Menaki. You got to. It's on August 4th. You got to get to where the old Menaki Lodge was, where it burnt down.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you're there at, I think it's 11 a.m. on August 4th, which is the Sunday of the long weekend, I believe, you can get a ride out. Or if you have a boat or have friends in that area, you can get a ride to this island, and they have this festival that's been running, I think, 7th year this year.
Okay.
And it's called the Barge Festival. I'll be out there for that. A lot of fun, really cool.
Cool.
And then there's one other one in the making near Falcon Lake. I kind of got headhunted to put on a one-day event on September 7th. I can't give you more details at this point, but it looks 98% sure that it'll happen. So
right on.
It's at the Cedar Creek Resort.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, people should check out the website for Hilltop, and they should check out Google you, as you mentioned, to find out your stuff. If you want to hear,
it's the same question that people ask me for business cards nowadays, and I'm like, just Google me, man.
Yeah. Does nobody else come up? I mean, are you the first result, or did people have to come around? Yeah. Okay.
No, Dustin Harder, man. You'll find me.
Right on. And if people want to hear more episodes of this show, like I said, there's close to 400 of them at this point. You can go to witchpolice.com. All of the past episodes are there for free download and streaming. And you can also tune in to 101.5 UMFM on Sunday nights at midnight. And those are older episodes that kind of get a second boost a few months after they are released in podcast form. So by the time this comes out on the air at midnight on a Sunday, it'll be the festival will likely be already over. But the cool thing is, I mean, you're planning on doing this again in future, so people can get an idea of what this year was about, and maybe they can follow up with you if they're interested in checking out next year. So it's kind of a cool added bonus that it airs a few months after it comes out in the podcast form.
Hey man, after my work with the Canada Council and the Art of Managing Career, I'll say it in the words of Heather Bishop, getting any ink or any radio or any television promotion is golden.
Oh,
so
totally,
thank you. Thank you for having me and for us doing this, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. Good luck with the festivals. I hope it's always nice to see more festivals giving opportunities to local artists. So I sincerely hope that they go well for you.
Hey, I was really excited that the Uniter decided to, at the U of W, decided to put us on with Jazz Fest and Winnipeg Folk Festival as a festival to look out for. So.
Yeah, that's cool, for sure, yeah. I mean, that's a perfect example of what you were just saying, too, that All coverage is good coverage, right?
Yeah, man.
Right on.
I never thought for once in my life that I'd find you, and I can say for certain that I'm through with hurting a love that's true. And you should know by now that there's no way, no how I would let you go. Too much time's gone by now. Best I let you know. I love you, yes I do. I love you. I love you, yes I do. I love you. Now that I've told you the words that I'd hoped you were longing to hear, come on over and dance with me, my love, my dear. Hold me tight, let's dance all night, never let me go. Never, never, never let me go. I love you, yes I do. I love you. I love you, yes I do. I love you. Now that I've told you the words that I'd hoped you were longing to hear, come on over and dance with me, my love, my dear. Hold me tight, let's dance all night, never let me go. Never, never, never let me go. Yeah, hold me tight, let's dance all night.